Hello everyone, my name is Matt Scorpion and welcome back to the TWAB update. This time we get some delving into Season of the Deep, a lot of trials, details, and some broad, let's say, beginner's entrances into the next Strand updates. Now, going through, of course, I mentioned a lot of the stuff I'm becoming, but to go about them all, Guardian Games happened, in case you missed it, so if you want to get up to date, there's an article right here, and it basically just Guardian Games if you wanted to know what it was all about. We also get a teaser to next season with Season of the Deep. Now, there's a few things that can be given. I don't want to say anything for certain, but I believe that would be Sloan, our NPC vendor from Titan, and I believe that might be the Leviathan from Titan itself. And 3 Guardians underwater. So, are we going to be able to go underwater next season? Who knows? I mean, Season of the Deep could be the deep water, could just be the deep of the hive. Who knows? But I kind of hope, honestly, Titan is coming back. I know Destiny has clearly been on a strain of running capacity just because of everything. The game's gotten big. Another destination could complicate things. But Titan was one of my favorite new worlds of Destiny 2. So, I hope we are going back to Titan. Or at least we get Sloan back in some form or fashion. Then, moving forward, we get details about Strand aspects. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of the, let's say, sales pitches, but I'll tell everything else. Now, the Hunters, they are getting the activate your class ability to leave behind a decoy woven from strand matter that draws the attention of nearby combatants. After taking significant damage or when combatants approach, the decoy will detonate, dealing damage and releasing threadlings that seek out and attack nearby foes. Think Bombardiers, but Strand, and possibly better. Honestly, Strand Hunter sounds like it got the best of everything, honestly. Then for Titans as well, we have Flechette Storm, think Consecration, but Strand. While sliding, activating your charge melee will let you leap into the air, knocking nearby targets away and dealing damage. While airborne, activate your charge melee button again to launch a cluster of damaging, unraveling projectiles. Repeatedly activating melee will chain additional throws. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it sounds cool, but at the same time, it's just another uppercut melee. I know one of my friends was not so happy that it's just another uppercut melee and not something more unique, but it does sound effective, although I don't know if it actually will be better than Dringer's Lash and whatever we had before for weapon mail. And Warlocks, they're blending more into the threadling aspect, making it so that tangles you throw attach to enemies and detonate into a suspending burst. Threadling final blows will create a tangle, so it's a little bit more into making tangles. But it's also, you know, one of those things where it's like, more way into this way. What it's already got might be better, so who knows. And if you missed yesterday's video and the blog that went out yesterday, there is a rundown of all the stuff that's changing in terms of abilities, so check that out if you're so feeling generous. And then economy changes. Now, the power cap is staying exactly the same next season. Basically saying the floor, aka what everyone will be at minimum, is 1600. Soft cap to raise will be all the way to 1750. Powerful cap, which requires powerful gear to drop to get up to, will be 1800. And pinnacle caps requiring pinnacle drops will go all the way to 1810. It does not go any higher than that next season. We are staying the same, so if you're already at pinnacle cap, you don't got to do anything. You'll already be there. Now, as well, they're adding exotic focusing soon. So, basically, here are your options with this at the start. Now, standard encryption allows players to decrypt an engram for free. Players receive random drops from the standard engram pool with no additional costs. But, focusing at tier 1, you can focus an engram to receive a random roll of an exotic from these associated expansions. Red War exotic helmets, Red War arms, Red War chest, Red War legs, and Forsaken. And then it just, at that point, then it becomes everything. Forsaken armor, Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, and Witch Queen. Now, Lightfall exotic armor focusing will be coming in a future season because we're getting new exotic armor as the season is going forward, so you know how that be. Now, it also requires an ownership of associated expansion as well as having previously acquired the armor pieces within the engram for your class. Every focus will, of course, cost an exotic engram, 30,000 glimmer, as well as an ascendant shard. Now, tier 2 focusing will get you a specific piece of armor exactly. If you wanted Shards of Galanor, you'll only get Shards of Galanor. However, it does require ownership of the associated expansion as well as having previously acquired said piece of armor, of course. You can't just buy an exotic. You have to get it first, but then it also has a higher cost, requiring 1 engram, 60,000 glimmer, 3 ascendant shards, and an exotic cipher. Now, ciphers are actually kind of rare, so there's no farming a roll. It's just, here, let me see if I can get this specific exotic this time. And then from that, you only have the ciphers from the season pass, and then ciphers you earn from Xur. So, formidable, but not that formidable. Now, of course, because Pinnacle Cap is going up, they are also changing some things as well. Basically, there's going to be less Pinnacles throughout the world, but there's going to be more exotic sources. So, expect you to be getting more exotics in the world as well. Now, other sources of focusable exotics will also include random world drops, season pass paid and free tracks, 6 per the paid, 2 per the free, as well as the vendor reputation tracks, 1 each reset after the first. So, there'll be more exotics around to grind for. Now, Deep Sight and how it's working. Of course, they're making manual activation. Now, here are the details. To perform a Deep Sight activation on a weapon, you will need a new Deep Sight Harmonizer currency. Non-raid weapons will cost 1, while raid weapons will require 15 spoils in addition to 1 Harmonizer cost. So, while you may not need to buy the weekly free red border, you also will still need the spoils to, activate these things. These Deep Sight Harmonizer currently can be obtained from the Season Pass rewards, 3 of them in the free and an additional 3 in the paid track, so 6 total if you have the paid version. This will be the sole currency of the initial rollout of said feature. Additionally, only 1 Harmonizer can be stored in the inventory at one time. That might be a problem in case somebody is saving them for a weapon that just refuses to drop. So, that might be something to be changed soon. Not all weapons will be compatible with Deep Sight, of course. You'll be prevented from activating a Deep Sight for a weapon that's already had its pattern unlocked. Weapons that previously had Deep Sight will be ineligible. You cannot activate Deep Sight on a weapon instance which has already been acquired with Deep Sight, nor can you activate it multiple times on a single weapon. Now, in this case, weapon instances purchasable from raid vendors will be ineligible. However, weapons purchased from Xur at the gunsmith will support Deep Sight. Basically, if you get the red border from the chest, you will be able to get that free one, but you won't have another one to buy other than the red border you get. And aside from that as well, you can't just buy more and more from the raid vendors to get more red borders if you have the materials. But for the case of Xur and the gunsmith, which has previously craftable weapons just coming back around, that's a good thing. So, like I said, fill your vaults with guns if you want to craft them, because that's how you kind of get your jump on it. 5 different ones, not the one. Then crafting costs will also see a change in Season 21. Legendary shards will be removed from all crafting components. Glimmer and enhancement cores will remain untouched. However, enhanced weapon costs are based on weapon masterwork costs, and thus will still require legendary shards, and are not yet modifying this detail. Now, some quality of life coming up. Basically, raid exotics throughout the board getting a buff to their drop rate. Now, as we all know, recently with a lot of raids and dungeons, there have been triumphs that increase the drop chance of a raid exotic upon completion. They're doing broad spectrum, and every raid that doesn't have these triumphs are getting them. Now, to sum it up, for every raid, it's going to be like the flawless run, the run of all the same classes, the run of all the same elements, the run of challenges, the run of unique encounters. Basically, most of the triumph that is literally either related to the type of class you're running, the type of subclass you're running, or a specific criteria like challenge modes or just unique challenges, because if you don't remember, there are some challenges that are similar but not challenge modes. Basically, it's just a... how do I say this? It's a challenge mode that's just a triumph but not an extra loot. So, do one of those. Basically, if you run all of these challenges that they show you, I imagine they'll be updated in game. You will also have boosted drop chance in case you somehow don't have this and you think your drop chance is that actually low. It applies to everything, including 1000 Voices, Eyes of Tomorrow, Collective Obligation, and Vex Mythoclast, as well as Touch of Malice. If somehow any of those weapons are not dropping for you, hopefully these will be retroactive. You don't have to redo them, and you'll be able to just get generally increased boost chance, and let's hope you get it then. Now, Finest Matterweave and Rainmaker are being deprecated. They will no longer be existing. But basically, let's see, as a part of ongoing efforts to simplify the economies, saying goodbye, starting, they will no longer drop. In any instance where a player would have received one, they will receive an enhancement core, and whenever a player gets a drop of Rainmaker, they will instead get 3000 Glimmer. But however, any existing ones can be dismantled for a core per, or Rainmaker to dismantle for 3000 Glimmer. So if you're like me and have like thousands of Rainmakers, yeah, you're going to have a pretty healthy Glimmer storage about. Then for Vanguard bounty updates, they're basically adding some more criteria to some of these things, but also expanding them to be available outside of the Vanguard playlist. So it's fastest in the playlist, but it's also capable of being done anywhere. So there you go. Then, including the Good Boy Protocol, Archie will be returning to the tower next season, so if you wish to continue petting the dog, you can now do that again. Your progress for the Good Boy Protocol will be carried over from Season 19. Now, Season Pass info, just a heads up, I think some people might not be so happy about this, but the Season Pass, as well as the 10 rank buff, are increasing in price. They're going up 200 silver respectively, up to 1200 from 1000 for the base Season Pass, and for the buffed bundle to 2200 up from 2000. So this is looking to maximize their rewards for each new season. It will be evaluating new approaches post-launch content throughout Year of the Final Shape. As well, though, pricing will remain unchanged for Lightfall in general, which will include this current season at time of purchase. But of course, then as well, the annual pass edition, which includes all seasons, that is unchanged. Not gonna lie though, if you're gonna play one season, you might as well play all of them. I know you might not be around, so but just buy them all at once. They're cheaper that way. Now, changes to trials and rewards and that sort of thing. They're added a new exotic ghost shell, a new ship, and a new sparrow, in case that is at all important to you, but not to I, so going on. They're also introducing a shader that is going to be available once a season. Well, let me say that. Well, they're shaders, so they're infinite once you unlock them. But basically, you can only unlock this shader, the Glorious Patina, which is basically a muddy gold, during next season. If you go flawless, you will receive any of these shaders. However, these are the shaders that will be available for the next 3 seasons until, the end. So if you want any of the shaders when they come around, you can get a flawless that season they came, and you will actually unlock it. So there you go. Then as well, we're getting the Messenger back. That one's coming back around, as well as the Unexpected Resurgence Adaptive Arc Glaive. Let's hope there's something unique about it to make it stand up to everything else. Now, of course, the Adept version will be first available on the weekend of June 9th, and the Adept version Messenger will be on the weekend of June 16th, so 1 week from each other. Then the following weapons will be removed from the standard loot pool next season, but the non-adept weapons will be available via Legacy Focusing at Scene 14, both the Inquisitor Shotgun and the Whistler's Wind Bow. So as I've been mentioning, the weapons themselves are available for focusing, just not the adept ones, and they won't drop naturally, I don't think. Now, here's a bunch of details regarding Trials Labs and their feedback, so if you want to read it, pause the screen at some point or read it yourself. I don't really care much for it regarding this. But some changes to the placement quest for Trials. Now, originally it was Step 1, complete competitive placement matches, get 50 kills in comp, raise your power level, and then pick up a Trials passage. Oh, wait, no, that's a new one. Basically, originally you had to kill 50 people, play the thing, reset a Valor rank. That was difficult, so to replace that, they are changing it to these requirements, which is basically play a bunch of comp, get 50 kills in comp, raise the power level to be comparable to everyone else, and then essentially pick up a Trials passage, play a game, win a round, get an elimination, and then you will get the role of the Astral Horizon Trials Shotgun as a reward, in addition to just, a Trials breakdown. Now some changes to Trials passages. Now, the Passage of Wealth. It previously granted increased reputation on wins 3, 5, and 7 on a card. This is at odds with the system that wants you to keep playing on a 7-win card to get to most efficient progress and best rewards. In Season 21, the passage will grant plus 75 Trials rep for every win, along with an additional bonus to your current major rank in Trials, up to 150 total. This encourages players to stay on the same card and take advantage of the system, granting more reputation for wins later in the card. Now the Passage of Mercy is getting buffed even more. Basically, you will have 2 losses that you can have that will keep you from going not flawless. After going flawless, if you reset your card, it will revert to only forgiving a single loss. So, the first flawless has more leeway. The second flawless does not. In addition, this gives all players a better chance of going flawless for the first time each week. And for those who can go flawless without using both mercies, it gives them additional opportunities to play for extra rewards while their first card remains flawless. Now, Dominion, now, I'm going to say this, they're going off of just basic elimination, and I think they're going to be going Dominion as the core game the entire time of the season. I do not know if they're doing Control or something else for the rest of the trial season, but basically they give a bunch of reasons why they think it's more important to have objective than just basic elimination. More things that if you wish to read about, if you care about trials, there you go. And they're also changing the requirements for Gilded Flawless. The original requirements were getting 180 kills, collecting 100 rewards, going flawless with one of the seasonal exotic weapons equipped, carrying 2 players to flawless, and winning 7 games on a 7-win ticket. Now, aside from that, now the changes will be as follows, which sounds honestly more complicated. I know you don't have to carry anybody, but here you go. Get 500 kills, earn 16 resets, basically reset the rank once. Go flawless and get 50 kills with one of the seasonal weapons equipped. It does not need to be used, you just need to have it. And skill of the one, while on a ticket with 0 losses with the Light of the Lost Emblem equipped, win 20 games, acquiring the medals of double kill 10 times, Skullbreaker for dealing the most damage to opponents in a match 5 times, and beginning of the first kill in a match 5 times. Then, as well, strengthen many while on a ticket with 0 losses with the Flawless Empyrean Emblem equipped to win 20 games and acquire the following medals: Flight of the Pigeon, Paradoxically Perfect, and Time Trials. Which, I'm not gonna lie, that sounds annoying. I know if anyone is playing Trials enough to gild the Flawless, they probably don't care. But I would much rather have multiple triumphs and work on one at a time, as opposed to true triumphs that I have to work on separately just because I have to have an emblem equipped. Like, why, Bungie? But then, as well, emblems, in case you actually wanted to go for it, there is a kind of flawless reward for, let's say, you have to get a Flight of the Pigeon for every win, but is something like that. But this is a new Trials emblem to track down, which is kind of like a pinnacle goal, so keep an eye out for that in case you want it, or want to say, hey, I play a lot of Trials. Now, speaking of the Trials thing, the vote is in. You're playing Rusted Lands this up-and-coming weekend, so there you go. And we also have more Prime Gaming loot available on Twitch Prime, as well as some wallpapers for everybody for the Guardian games, which I noticed this in the phone version of Bungie. Why is the Titan shield crooked? OCD is flaring. It's a circle. Just rotate it a little bit to the left. Why is it crooked? But aside from that as well, the player support report. Now, for Guardian games. Guardian Games has returned. It will run from the 2nd to the 23rd at the weekly resets. Check out the help article for more information regarding Guardian Games. And the hotfix released earlier this week on Tuesday. Players can view the full list of updates there at the patch notes. Now, for the upgraded event card. Players who purchase the upgraded event card should ensure that they have opened the Guardian Games event pack bundle located in the Reft items or consumables inventory. In order to claim these instant unlock items, players who did not claim this bundle from the event card prior to the end of Guardian Games will not receive their items. Now, some of the known issues going about. The node for normal supremacy matchmaking is missing its description. Some Guardian Games quests are only progressing with bronze medals or medals from the recreational Vanguard Games playlist. Wish Center does not penetrate extended phalanx or Hydra shields. The Lake of Shadows Nightfall wiping in the final boss room would cause some enemies and champions in the previous room to respawn, blocking platinum rewards. The Vexcalibur Triumph, or Catalyst Triumph, is not completing. Some gilded titles are no longer gilded, and some associated triumphs have been marked as incomplete. The Strand Hunter's aspect and Searing Slam does not trigger some class ability mods. Masterworking and enhancing a weapon will make it appear as the player gets a plus 20, when in reality players get a plus 10 to the base stat. Using 3 copies of the same resist armor mod provides no benefit over the 2 same mods. Some players are finding that Radiant no longer stuns barriers, and fire sprays no longer be generated from grenade kills. For the full list of issues, of course, review the known issues article and submit anything to the help forum if you have issues of your own that you don't see. Then the usual various arts and movies of the week, in case you want to go see it. But aside from that, that is pretty much the end of the TWAB. It is a bit of a long one, but you know, teasers for the next season, a lot of changes to trials. Aside from that, there's a lot of just quick fire stuff happening in the world. So, you know, TWAB's always here for that. But I gotta admit, the exotic, the broad exotic fixing for raid exotics, the triumphs boosting progress, that's a good move. I didn't expect that, but definitely feel like that's a good move on Bungie's part. With that, my name is Matt Scorpion. I will see you in the next video.